Hey everybody, welcome back to Video Game Esoteric, and we're continuing the series Saturday Morning Cartoons, where I take a look at some games that are based on cartoon franchises. And honestly, I'm cheating a slight bit today because this is Batman Forever on the Saturn and Sega STV arcade board, and of course the animated series that I was referring to in the intro is something different. But I've already done a video on that game. This is my channel and I make the rules, and this game is so wild and weird I had to show it to you at some point in time. Before we get too far involved, do me a huge favor, go down below, hit like and subscribe, and that notification bell definitely helps us out. And if you feel so inclined and want to support the channel, we got a Patreon link down below as well. But Batman Forever, the arcade game, is a fever dream of a beat 'em up. This is not sped up footage, the game just moves that fast. It is frantic, fast-paced action from start to finish, and what is on offer here is quite good. You can definitely tell it has the full-on digitized look to it, with things coming out of the backgrounds, all of the actors being played by real characters, of course, not the actors from the movie. They're too good for video games, but some replacements or body doubles instead. But this game is just weird. It is a very fun game. It can be slightly repetitive, but honestly, what other Batman game do you get to shrink down your opponents and walk over them until they explode? Obviously, they're shooting out Riddler icons and not actual blood and guts, but it could be that. You never know. But you can play as Batman, or you can play as Robin. That kind of covers, the entire roster of the crime-fighting duo here. But honestly, this game is just so wild and so 90s. I remember when it came out in arcades. I remember when this movie came out. It was not very good whatsoever. I'd say the game is much better than the movie it is based on. And of course, because it is Saturday Morning Cartoons, let's just pretend that this was based on a cartoon so we can hit that criteria for myself. Like I said, I just had to talk about this game because it is so unique. First of all, if you can't already tell, and I mentioned earlier, the speed at which this game moves is obscene, and all of these little cutscenes when you power up are just so wild and so colorful. This is like a video game on speed. It is hopped up and it is ready to fight because things are just pinballing back and forth at a rate that no beat 'em ups ever used before, and I don't think has ever used since. And you'll even be able to power up your entire character at the end of a level just to see this amazing animated little cutscene, just to exit the level completely without that power-up. It's a very weird and flawed design choice, but it is such a spectacle I can't help but love it, and I love how they play with the environment and all those full motion digitized sprites. That piece of construction equipment coming out of the background and knocking something over, you'll see in this stage we have much more movement to the top and bottom of the screen to fight enemies, and this game is constantly throwing enemies at you. You can knock them off the skyscraper to their death. I thought Batman didn't kill, but apparently he does. But there's so many different combos and moves in this game. You need to look at a move set just to be able to fully understand what's going on. And with all the different power-ups you can get from Batman's arsenal, the amount of ways you can damage an opponent in this game is basically feeling infinite at this point in time. Because now we have to fight this helicopter, but it's in the distance. But if we pick up the Batarang, we have a homing shot in on it while we're also beating up enemies at the same time, or trying to. We did take a death there. But there's just something going on in this game every single second you are playing it, and it definitely has a lot of vibes going on visually as well. Because we move on to the next stage here, you just see all of these digitized actors in this ballroom. You have Two-Face right there, and the Riddler is going to show up very shortly. Batman bursts through the ceiling, and I love the fact that no one seems to care. There's a massive brawl going on in front of them. There are no reactions from those NPCs. They're just standing there basically taking in a show while Batman charges up with lights flashing all around him. Two-Face is shooting into the audience and you're beating people up. It's a very incongruous and weird look, but I love it, and it's so kitschy. I can't help but be amused by the kind of dichotomy between the action going on and what people react to it. The soundtrack's decent. It's a little weird, but go ahead and listen for 45 seconds and I'll be right back.
Taser. Batarang. Evil. Power up. Grapple. Light.
It's a decent soundtrack, and it's not great, and it's slightly muffled, but I am playing this on the Sega STV arcade board that's based on the Sega Saturn. Obviously on the Saturn you get that optical disc, so you're going to have a lot more storage medium for a better sounding soundtrack, but it doesn't improve the quality of the overall composition because it's decent, but it's not going to rival some of the other games we've shown on Saturday morning cartoons so far. But you'll see there I got that boss stuck in a stun lock animation. I was able to quickly beat the ever-loving hell out of him and jump into the sewer here. You don't want to be throwing those toxic waste barrels around all willy-nilly because you can blow yourself up too, and you'll probably see that shortly. But again, I love all the different accessories Batman gets because he's not just a street fighter, he's also someone who has all of these different gadgets, and they all make an appearance in this game. Batarangs, grappling hooks, if you name it, it is probably in here somewhere or another. I just love that you can grab those enemies and throw them at the wall as well, but I still can't get over how damn fast this game runs. It's like I sped the footage up 2 to 3 times the speed, but this is just the native frame rate of it. It's running in 60 frames a second, but all of the motion is just massive, and that grappling hook with that sprite scaling, just slamming those two enemies into what would have been the arcade monitor, is such a fun look. This game is pure spectacle, and it's better than it plays because it's such a fun time just seeing it in action, because this is definitely a B tier beat 'em up. There's better Batman games that I could have talked about, but I wanted to talk about this just from spectacle. Now you have to fight a combo duo of sugar and spice. Some things in this game just feel completely made up. But again, even though this is all digitized real art, it looks really good. You have that pseudo lighting effect coming in through the window there. You have that kind of Art Deco statue that the Batman franchise is so well known for, those really angular pieces. And you've got a relatively decent fight going on as well. Now sometimes you feel like your strike should be hitting. I'm just basically phasing through the boss character here with those kicks. If you don't hit them right in the head, they are not going to register, and the hitboxes can be ever so slightly small. So sometimes you're going to get a little annoyed with the game saying, but come on, I feel like I'm making a hit. But if you're not pixel perfect, it's going to give you a little bit of hell, but honestly it's a small complaint, and some beat 'em ups that are widely considered to be much better than this game have the same issue, so it's not a strike about Batman Forever in and of itself. This is just so much fun though, now that we're out into the streets of Gotham. This game brings you through an entire tour of the city, and we just got run over by a car there as well. There's always things in the background that can and will hit you if you're not paying attention. It's not the cheapest beat 'em up I've ever played, but it's definitely not the fairest either. If you're putting real quarters into this thing, you're going to need to bring a lot of them to see the end of the game, because it's actually a relatively long game as well, because this was meant for both the arcade and for the home console, so the developers had to make it long enough to make your dollar go a decent amount once you brought it home. Although this game is relatively not the most common thing now, so I'm assuming not many people actually bought it. And I do love that you can end up shrinking Batman, getting powered up at the same time, and he stays there as his little persona on the bottom of the screen and never actually elevates into the air. Almost feels like a glitch, but it also seems like it could be completely intentional, but he still hits hard as a little Batman. You're not going to be totally screwed when you're shrunk down, but it's just such a funny look to see Batman shrunk fighting full-size characters here. Master and Talon again. Just some random names that they threw into the mix, it seems like. But the movie definitely had a vibe to it as far as the colors are concerned, and that has been fully brought over into the game as well. And it's a decent effect. Sometimes the characters can kind of blend into the background and be a little bit hard to spot, but honestly, if you're just pushing buttons, you're probably hitting something, because this game throws so many enemy sprites at you at once. If you're just kicking or punching, chances are there's something in front of you that you can hit. But you even get to go into the Batcave as well, and it's just so much fun. Not every single game needs to be a 10 out of 10 for you to enjoy it, and something like Batman Forever, the arcade game, is a total B-tier game all day long, but it is such a spectacle, and it's so entertaining and so fast-paced that it's actually better than it has any right to be. And of course there's other Batman games I could have talked about for Saturday morning cartoons, but I do like to cheat now and then to talk about a game that I just feel like more people need to know about. And if you've never played this game, I highly recommend you do so. You can use an original STV board, you can use a Saturn, either with an optical disc emulator, the original disc, or you can even emulate this on MAME as well if you so choose. But yeah, if you've never played Batman Forever, the arcade game, and you want to play 30 to 45 minutes of pure action-packed craziness, you could do a lot worse. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.